Oh, this is Big Bopper here with another Malifaux batrep. In this game, it was Turf War. I decided I'd take Lucius as Neverborn. His upgrades, the one was Hidden Sniper, one was Surprisingly Loyal, and the other one was on Death's Wings, or one of the new upgrades. As you can see, I got Warden Rifleman, Graves with useless duplications, Beckoner, Illuminated. I've also got a Doppelganger, and she's got Mimic's Blessing. The Dreamer is the Scribe, and Lucius. My opponent's crew was the Mechanical Rider, uh, Rail Golem, Mayfang, two Rail Workers, and Kang, and I can't remember any of the upgrades. We both took the same schemes, which was Murder Protege and Protect Territory, and I think we announced both of them. I can't really remember. So my opponent took a hard-hitting crew, and in the later stages with the Mechanical Rider, a way to replenish his numbers if need be. So this is a setup of the board. That's just from the top view. We had a third person taking photos, so you'll find that there will be more photos than is usual, which was very nice. And also, it was a while back, so my memory is going to be a bit hazy. This is the deployment. As you see, I've got everything strung out there. I got the rifleman in the forest, but Graves was going to push him. The idea was to get him up close and first turn ping as many wounds I could off that rail golem. I'd Murder Protege on the rail golem. He had Murder Protege on Graves, which really hampered me as to what I should do with Graves. And so I sort of left him in no man's land. But you'll see as the game goes on. So I'm going to be running both around both sides of that wall, which was pretty annoying in the deployment zone. As you can see, there's his crew. Mechanical Rider's right at the back. He held the Mechanical Rider back for a few turns until it's got that defensive trigger up, make it a bit more survivable. And so it was a late game push piece, which I think probably the Riders, that's their best use. And so the further the game goes, the better they get. In fact, they get a bit silly. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time. As you can see, that's an overall view of the deployment, courtesy of our third person. My first game with Lucius, I haven't recorded the bat rep, but I lost it. And I found him a bit frustrating or difficult to use. And, I'm still figuring him out. But yeah, we'll just see how that game goes. So we're just ready to start the opening move. So what you see next is turn one, just the middle of turn one. Lucius hasn't gone yet, but everything else has moved up. Graves did push the rifleman up, and I think the rifleman's moved a little bit and got a focus on him. And the Warden's moved right up as well. Beckoner's just hanging back there, and Lucius is ready to move and start manipulating his crew. The upgrade, the fly upgrade I got him was just so he could, when he burned to Soulstone, he gets to draw 3 rather than 2. I think it was probably a waste because the flight really didn't help him much. As you can see, turn 1, the Rail Golem has moved right up, and he's just removed positioning all of his scrap guys really just for Mayfang to swoop in and to start doing some damage. The Mechanical Rider is just hanging around a little bit there, just out of the way, just hopefully not in range of anything. And really, I Murder Protege on the Rail Golem, so I really want to do damage on it. So actually, at the end of turn 1, Lucius did his stuff, and I pinged a lot of wounds off the Rail Golem with the Rifleman, and then I paralysed him. Lucius issued command to the Warden. The Warden was able to put the restraining claw and paralyze it. So my opponent was already starting to get worried. As you can see in this photo, I pushed the Scribe up just to try and jam up his crew a little bit. I was getting a bit worried of that hitting power that was coming in. And as you can see, that's the end of turn 2. I have lost both the Rifleman and the Warden. Mayfang rail walked and just took them out in no time. The Warden especially was hammered because she was in the radius of Kang, so she got bonuses to, flips versus constructs. And for some reason, I can't remember how or why, she could ignore its armor. So it went down really quickly, and then she moved in and killed the Rifleman. And I remember from this stage on, my crew felt really handcuffed. It was like when those 2 models went down, the teeth went out of my crew. That could just be a psychological thing. So as you can see, this is turn 3. Mayfang has moved up and she's done a bit of damage to the Beckoner. You can see through one of the windows there. I've got the doppelganger moving around the side. She's going to try and plant some scheme markers for protect territory. Yeah, so that was the idea. That was cards that my opponent drew all at once, you know, for duels. He had a really bad run in some of his duels. That would only make Jacob Lynch happy. Turn 3 leading from the front. The reason for that is I moved Lucius up and I tried to do my hidden sniper to take out the rail golem before he could activate and do some damage. And everything was going great. Then I flipped the Black Joker for damage. The Black Joker reared its head for both of us quite a few times in this game. It was getting ridiculous. And we weren't seeing a ton of the Red Joker either. So it's strange how this game goes so far. So, you know, May's bouncing around, doing a bit of damage to everybody. I've got the Illuminated and Lucius up there gaining points. I was hoping that Lucius's Governor's Authority would give everybody negative flips and keep him alive. And then you've also got that trigger on his sword cane, which gives him -2 to hit anybody with a mimic, which includes him. So unfortunately, the Rail Golem got to activate next and locomoted, and the mimic's blessing sort of helped with my. No, I think I can't remember, but anyway, I was left on a couple of wounds on my doppelganger, so I was. Yeah, feeling a bit annoyed. If it wasn't for that Black Joker, that Rail Golem would be dead already. And in my experience, if you don't deal with the Rail Golem early, you are going to regret it because it hits like a ton of bricks. So there's Graves engaged with one of the rail workers. The rail workers were always getting that defensive trigger off, so I was only ever doing 1 point of damage. And sure, they don't start with a lot of wounds, but that defensive trigger and hard to wound, I mean hard to kill, they stick around for an awful long time. And at this stage of the game, I was really feeling under pressure. I was still challenging for, that's just another angle from turn 3, for Turf War, but I was losing models. And so there you see the end of turn 3. Kang's engaged with Lucius. Lucius already takes some damage because he's been hurting himself for soul stones. And, you know, it's looking dire. Somehow Grave is engaged with Mei Fang. I forget how she got there. The doppelganger managed to mimic the Rail Golem's attack and take off his last couple of wounds and get a scheme marker down. So I was happy with that. The Rail Golem was gone. I got my 3 points for Murdered Protege. As you can see, turn 4, Graves is dead. Yep, Mei Fang killed Graves, so he got his Murder Protege. And now his Mechanical Rider has moved up and started summoning 4 Soul Stone models. So he's got the Arcane Effigy. That's just silly. And being able to summon that in, and a Metal Gammon. I think turn 4 or turn 5, it's when I did get that red tape up on Kang, so I thought, right, if I discard a card, he's -3 flips to hit me, but the effigy just moved up and removed it. So it's annoying. So I'm hanging on for dear life. I'm trying to get schemes down and markers down for Protect Territory, but there's no, you know, I'm thinking, how am I going to be able to hold them? How am I going to be able to keep 2 models there? So it's looking really dire. And I think if you've got Lucius up in the front trying to hold the line, there's something wrong there. Or maybe that's the way you're meant to play him. I have no idea. So that's the end of turn 4. And as you can see, Lucius is dead as well. Yeah, so the Arcane Effigy seems a bit closer to Kang. Moved up, removed the condition from Kang, and Kang just whomped Lucius in the face, killing him. I moved the Doppelganger more to the center, put down another scheme marker, and to help contest Turf War. And I was sort of thinking, oh, well, next turn is looking dire. But I think Kang had already suffered a few wounds, and I thought, you know, I might be able to mimic his Whomping Shovel with a Doppelganger if I win initiative, and I should be able to win initiative because I can cheat it, and then maybe if I get lucky, I can take him down to 1 wound, and then one of my other models can finish him off, or I might get really lucky and be able to kill him. So as we see, turn 5, he won initiative, and he won it in such a way, he flipped a 13, I couldn't cheat in to win, so even to draw it, I don't think. He got initiative, and Kang just went to town on the Mimic, on the Doppelganger. Even with Mimic's blessings and a manipulative, he made sure he had the stones and whatever to get around it. So now I've just got the Beckoner and the Illuminated left. So I'm still competing for Turf War. As it is, I'm not really going to get Protect Territory, and he's starting to put scheme markers in. Kang just moves forward a little bit more and next to the Illuminated. And as you can see, another 4 Soul Stone significant minions being popped out by the Mechanical Rider, who only needs a 6 to do that. Am I sounding a little bit annoyed? Maybe. So, yeah, it was a good crew construction by my opponent. And, he's coming for the late game and he knows he's going to get max points for everything at this stage. And I'm just holding on to try and get some points to at least try and keep it a little bit close. As you can see, the Illuminated's dead. Mei Fang smacked the crap out of it. So I've just left with the Beckoner. So it was a 10-5 loss. So I think I got 2 points for Turf War and 3 for Murder Protege. And my opponent got full 10 points on everything. So well played by him. After the game, it left me with a healthy respect for Mei Fang. She's a real minion killer. Her body count was huge. Like, she took out the Warden, the Rifleman, she took out Graves, the Illuminated, beat up the Beckoner. The only thing she didn't kill was the Doppelganger and the Scribe. They were killed by other things, and Lucius. It was brutal. At the end of this game, I found myself quite frustrated with Lucius. I thought that to really make max Mewtwo's abilities, I'd need minions, mimics, and guardsmen. But then I thought, well, I really felt like I needed another Warden or another Rifleman. And then I'm taking a guild crew with some Neverborn in it. My opponent said that maybe I could have taken another beater. They weren't that impressed with the Doppelganger. I don't think I use a Doppelganger as well as I could. I think she's so versatile that she's always a good include. I'd like people's thoughts on this. Should I have just kept Graves right at the back when he announced Murder Protege and just done without him and had the come and get him attitude? In hindsight, I think so. With Lucius, yeah, I just find the 2 games I've played with him I've found frustrating. Looking back at this video, I don't think I played a bad game, but I think I could play. Yeah, I just think other masters would have done a better job of it. And, if I want to manipulate things, I've got Zoraida. Having said that, I think Lucius is a good experience for your opponent because he doesn't manipulate their models, only his. I mean, he can put the red tape on, but besides that, there's not much else he does to muck around with your opponent's crew. So I think he's good for your opponent. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye.